The global reaction moved quickly once Donald Trump emerged as the clear winner in what many now see as one of the most consequential US presidential elections in years. The timing alone makes the result heavier than usual. This outcome lands while wars continue in Ukraine and the Middle East, while major economies remain fragile, and while alliances that once felt unshakable are quietly being tested. Public congratulations came fast from world leaders, but behind closed doors the mood is far more cautious, shaped by calculation rather than celebration. Welcome to Political Plot, where we cut through the noise to reveal the power plays shaping American politics. Today we're diving into how Donald Trump's return to the White House is forcing the world to rapidly recalibrate, as allies and adversaries alike brace for a more unpredictable, transactional US foreign policy at a moment of global conflict and economic fragility. At its core, this is about how uncertainty itself becomes a strategic force shaping decisions from Ukraine and the Middle East to Europe and China. For many governments, the real surprise was not that Trump won, but how decisively it happened. Months of tight polling had conditioned diplomats to expect uncertainty, delays, and legal disputes. Instead, the clarity of the result forced capitals to shift instantly from watching to planning. Most foreign ministries had always accepted that a Trump return was possible. Far fewer had meaningfully prepared for it. In Europe especially, there is a growing sense that while officials talked about insulating themselves from sudden shifts in US policy, little was actually done, partly out of fear of appearing to interfere in American politics. Ukraine is the first and most urgent test. Trump has repeatedly said he wants the war to end and wants to be directly involved in achieving that. At the same time, his history shows a gap between rhetoric and action. His statements are often contradictory and sometimes deliberately vague, making them difficult to treat as firm commitments. Still, there is a widespread expectation that US support for Ukraine will shrink over time. The critical unknown is the speed of that reduction and whether it is tied to negotiations or imposed abruptly. From Kiev's perspective, uncertainty is deeply unsettling. Ukrainian leaders understand that security guarantees matter more than short-term aid, and they are likely to frame their military not just as defending Ukraine, but as a future pillar of European security. The message is transactional but strategic. Support Ukraine now, and Europe gains long-term stability. Behind this, however, sits a quiet fear that Washington's attention could drift elsewhere. Moscow, meanwhile, has projected indifference. Official statements downplay enthusiasm and emphasize that the US remains hostile regardless of leadership, but Russian calculations will be decisive. If the Kremlin believes momentum is on its side, it may refuse to engage in talks. That creates a pivotal moment. If Trump proposes a deal and Russia rejects it, he must choose between walking away or escalating support for Ukraine in ways the current administration avoided. Unlike his predecessor, Trump has shown less fear of escalation, and that unpredictability shapes every calculation. The Middle East presents a different challenge. Trump remains popular in Israel, where many felt they face fewer constraints during his previous term. The problem is that the region is already at war. The central question is how much freedom Israel will be given, particularly regarding Iran. Trump has called himself a peacemaker and expressed reluctance to be dragged into foreign conflicts, yet he has also urged Israel to finish the job. Those positions create ambiguity rather than clarity. Personal relationships will matter as much as policy. Trump's past record shows that perceived slights or personal rapport can quickly change outcomes. In the Gulf, early congratulations suggest optimism that pressure on Iran will increase and that broader regional deals could eventually return, though only after the current fighting stabilizes. China looms just as large. Trade tensions already exist, but Trump's proposed tariffs threaten to accelerate them dramatically. A trade war between the US and China would ripple across the global economy, forcing many countries to choose sides. Allies who enjoyed a relative pause from these pressures may soon face hard decisions. Europe once again finds itself under scrutiny. Trump is likely to approach European states transactionally, pushing harder on defense spending and questioning long-standing assumptions about shared burdens. The underlying issue is not ideology, but a belief that the US has been taken for granted. This moment could become a wake-up call, forcing Europe to confront uncomfortable questions about security, competitiveness, and self-reliance. Despite the America First label, it would be wrong to assume Trump will retreat entirely from the world stage. He values deals, visibility, and legacy. His unpredictability can unsettle adversaries, but it can also expose weaknesses if others learn how to exploit it. What is certain is that the world is recalculating fast. Allies are adjusting, rivals are probing, and uncertainty has become a force in its own right. The next phase will not be quiet, and it will not be simple.